Good morning, guys. So I understand that some of you, or all of you actually, got yourself an early present yesterday or last night because in error, um, an incorrect document was uploaded to your My e-learning platform last night. So you all have a head start on me, right? All right. So today, well, the course is 4106 and it's institutional pharmacy management. And institutional pharmacy management is tied directly to public sector management, public health sector management. And we are going to get into it early o'clock. I ain't seen no responses from anyone. Good morning to everyone. All right. So we are looking at the public health approach lecture, GCC, the PHA approach. So let's go. What is public health? And we have several definitions here from slides 2 all the way down to slide 10 that gives you information that can be used to define public health. And public health is a science and an art of preventing disease, promotes physical health, prolong life, efficiency, community. Now, these are community, sanitization, environment, all of these things form part of the idea and the concepts that are associated with public health. Right, Marie, I remember you from summer. Hi, Marie. Vikash from yesterday. Karina, I remember you from summer as well. And Jahid, I remember you from yesterday and today. Jahid, I think lectures were uploaded. No, you all don't have the lectures? How could I? Um, None of the lectures you all have? They should have. They should have been uploaded. I thought that was fixed. Um, can someone send me their email address and I can email them to you now? Did anybody else get? Did anyone get the lecture? Because I see Karina is saying her my e-learning is giving trouble. And just in the interim, can someone send me your email address so I can email the lectures to you? I could just The system is overpopulated, so we can't log in. Which system is that, Samantha? Is it my e-learning? Can someone send me an email address so I can send it to you and it can be now sent to your group, or someone can forward it. I think last time my e-learning. Okay. Hi, Karina. I'm seeing you on WhatsApp now. Right, okay. But how, where you sent your email, Jahil? Where? Jahil and Shakila, I'm not seeing any email address. Or you sent me, is it that you sent me an email? No, I'm not seeing any email from anyone. Okay, well, I have Karina's email address. I'm going to send it to her, and she will forward it to you guys, okay? Karina Ramlakan at gmail.com. Karina Ramlakan at gmail. I have to be careful what I'm sending here. Guys, I have to be careful what I send in. Because I can send you all some information that you'll be more than happy to see. Tracy, how do I directly send this to your group chat? I don't have, how do I do that? The lectures are on the laptop. So I'm going to send it to somebody and maybe they can send it on the group chat, right? I don't mind you sending me. Well, of course you all don't. Do you have WhatsApp web? No, I don't, Tracy. I don't have WhatsApp web. So let me just send this to Karina now, right? Attach files on the computer. Maybe I could send all. But all I don't know if all would attach. So I'll do these. I'll do these two. And maybe I can send the others later. Right, so I'm sending you the first two lectures. Sorry, that's okay. So at least I sent three lectures, and I can email the balance of them. Um, I can email the balance of them later on today if they're not up on my e-learning. All right. So let's go. Let's get So can someone just confirm when you all have it so we can continue? So Jahil, how come you're in community and institutional? I thought there was an option that you had to choose either or and do toxicology instead. Or I- is this normal? Sentinel. I wasn't feeling the toxicology vibes. Oh, so you are actually allowed to do both community and institutional as an option. So I did common institute. All right. Yes, it's sent. Katrina? Yup, to what? Oh, you all received it? You all have the lectures now, guys? Katrina, is that a yes to the lectures that in front of you all? No, yes. Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Well, guys, it's sent. I can show you that I sent it. Um, it's there. It has been sent. CARINARAMLAKHAN@gmail.com. CARINARAM. Great. There she has sent it. Okay, good. She sent it on the group. You all should have it now. Good. So we can go now. Dylan, right. I remember Dylan from summer as well. Nice to have you along here, Dylan. All right, good. So most of you would have gotten it. So let's get moving. We already kind of running behind time. All right. Okay. So public health, as I was saying, the slides 1 all the way to 10 um, speaks to definitions and phrases that are associated with uh, public health and what is public health. And it speaks to environment, it speaks to sanitation, personal hygiene, community involvement. These are words that are all affiliated with public health. The prevention of disease, the prolonging life, efficiency through community efforts, um, development of a social machinery. So I want immediately your take home point from this is public health is not at the core medical sciences. Public health is the mesh or the bridge or the interaction of pure medical and biological sciences with that of our social infrastructure and our everyday living conditions. All right? Let's check in on the chat here to see if everybody is on. All right, good. So, some concise definitions would be public health is a combination of science and skills, and this is on slide 6, and beliefs that are directed to the maintenance and improvement of overall health. Well, that's a pretty long definition still. Um, but a really nice, concise definition is the science of an art of preventing disease, prolonging life, and promoting health through organized efforts of society. And the organized efforts of society is where you can expand some more and talk about living conditions, talk about sanitation, talk about um, the economic environment as well. All right. So public health is on slide number 9. It's a social institution, it's a discipline, and it's a practice. And guys, are we? I'm sure everyone by now has an idea of what public health is about. What's the easiest example of public health event right now? What's the easiest example of a public health event happening right now, guys? Tell me. Tell me what's a public health event that's occurring right now. That's right, as easy as you can get. COVID-19. Thanks, Tracy. Thanks. Oh, yes, Tracy was from my last class as well. Yes, okay, guys, okay. Yes, COVID-19. COVID-19 is a public health emergency as has been declared early in March, and COVID-19 is now a full-on pandemic. And you can do your own checks to define the differences between an epidemic, which is an issue of disease that's localized to a particular area, versus a pandemic where this disease is now has global spread and global reach. So we've had many epidemics in the past. We haven't had much pandemics, but we've had quite a few epidemics. Some pandemics of late would have been the swine flu. Did they consider swine flu a pandemic? Yes, it did, because there were countries all over the world with swine flu and bird flu. The SARS was also another pandemic, and then we have epidemics, which would be like Ebola, which would have been localized to some of the African countries, and other illnesses that were related specifically to a particular region and did not have global spread. So it's a good idea for you all to be able to distinguish between a pandemic and an epidemic. All right, so essentially, some of your public health functions, and we are doing this because, as I said in the beginning of the lecture, public health, public institutional pharmacy management is directly related to public health management, and we're hoping that this course can inspire you to further do more readings and more courses and further qualifications into public health. All right, because it is a separate discipline, and you all would see the characters on our daily news briefings. We have the chief medical officer, we have the minister of health, we have technocrats within the chief medical officer's office, such as epidemiologists and statisticians, all part of the public health apparatus of Trinidad and Tobago. So the functions are to monitor health status and identify community problems. So that monitoring, you always need to be abreast of the situation. You always need to be aware of things that are happening around you and analyze and recognize, is this a problem? Is this going to be a problem? Diagnose and investigate health problems and health hazards in the community. So public health can be localized to a community within Trinidad and Tobago, or within the USA, or within Brazil, wherever it is. It can be localized to a particular community, or it can be something that affects the national community, or it can be something that affects the entire world. And I'll give you an example of a local um, community issue right here in Trinidad and Tobago. There was several years ago, there's a community in Arima called Damarara and Damarara Road. And for years, um, there were persons who were using old car battery, broken down car batteries as material to put in their yard because the yard was muddy. And I'm being very simple about the explanation. And these families, they were not of they were all belonged to the lower socioeconomic class, and they had kids. And these kids would be in their yard and they would be playing with these pebbles that they have, but these pebbles were lead. And I'm sure from your science background, from your chemistry background, you all know the dangers that lead pose to the human body. And all of these kids developed lead poisoning. They had darkening of the fingernails. They were tired. They were fatigued. They had issues with their bodily functions. And through a public health intervention, it was identified that this issue was directly related to broken car batteries that were used as rubble for the yard that was as a result of their living conditions being in a muddy area. So I want you to start to see and make the links here of how public health is tied into your social conditions, your living conditions, your sanitation, and all of those things. All right? It has a function to inform, educate, and empower people about health issues. And that word empower means that you are providing the right environment for persons to make the best decision. Empower is about providing the right environment for persons or groups to make the best informed. And I'm going to put in a very important enabling. That's what empower is. Empowerment is about you providing the right environment for persons or groups to make the best informed decision. So, guys and gals, I cannot empower you and you cannot empower me. What I can do is provide the right environment and enabling environment for you to make the best decision and make the right choices. Okay? So, in other words, people or groups can empower themselves. I should say only people or groups can empower themselves. All right? And you'd be surprised, guys and gals, that there is a portion of the population that simply does not understand the relationship of their daily routine, their living conditions, their sanitation methods, and how that relates to their health care status. And public health has a real important role, and sometimes an understated and an underappreciated role in helping persons accept and understand that some of the decisions that they take and some of the things that they do directly impact on their healthcare status. Public health is about mobilizing community partnerships to identify and solve problems. So public health is not the chief medical officer and the Ministry of Health coming in alone and giving out health service to the population. It involves strategic community partnerships to identify and solve problems. So the doctors and the nurses and the pharmacists and the lab techs and everybody who is involved in core health care cannot always identify and solve problems. The community must be part of that because the community, and most times, they know what the problem is as well. There are a few persons who would know what the problem is and would now need assistance in solving that problem. Develop policies and plans that support individual and community health efforts. Well, a policy is essentially a guiding document. Let me put that in the chat. I think we'll see this later in another slide. Policy is a guiding document. Right? Or yeah, we can use the word document. It's a guiding document, and a plan. And I don't know, some of you were in class just now. A plan is a blueprint. A plan is a blueprint, and the blueprint is a guide, a detailed guide on completion. Enforce laws and regulations that protect health and ensure safety. And laws and regulations, as you all would be seeing within recent times, have had to come into effect for the purpose of preserving or reducing or slowing down the spread of coronavirus in Trinidad and Tobago. And there was a significant law that came into effect recently. What's the law? Right, Samantha was on the ball. Wearing mask, must wear mask. Yes, these things are now in our regulations that literally, well, we can use the word guide, but we now have to say the word force persons to wear masks for the sake of reduction of transmission. So enforcing laws, and although a law is created, although a law is created, there needs to also be there also needs to be enforcing. And we know what is happening right now with enforcing. Who is responsible for enforcing? Who is responsible for enforcing the laws? Police officers, that's in Gary. Customs. Yes, the police and all other security agencies, and even also yes, yes, these are the obvious ones. The police and Jahil say Gary, Vikas say customs. Yes, these are law enforcers. But in this setting, in this public health setting, who are also enforcers of the law that that you're supposed to be thinking about as well? Let me get some answers from you all. There's another group of government workers that have a responsibility for enforcing public health laws. And that's the answer right there for some of you who may be in tune with what I'm saying. Who are these people? So we're saying yes to police, yes to customs, yes to Gary Griffith. Who else are enforcers of this law? Which public health authority, Jahil? Infection Prevention and Control Committee. No, Chelsea. I think Infection and Prevention and Control Committee are part of the ministry's internal um, management mechanism. I'm talking about one that has outreach. Outreach. Yes, the Ministry of Health. I think they fall under the Ministry of Health, do they? Yes, they do. Who, Shakila? What other group of persons have a responsibility that public? Thanks, Jahil. Very good. Jahil gets a round of applause. Public health inspectors. A very critical, a very important role right now. Public health inspectors should be out there, should be trying their best to ensure that the rules are applied properly, that persons who are engaged in the retail of food and the retail of produce are engaged in the right methods. I have been in a subway just recently, just Sunday night. The security had on no mask. The person preparing the sandwich had on no mask, and worse, the person was doing that. Can you imagine the horror? I took them. I without making any um without making any, as we say, bacchanal. I paid for the item, I took the item, and I threw it away. But this is exactly why coronavirus is spreading, because we don't have proper enforcement of the existing law of mask wearing. The law itself came very late, and now we have an issue with enforcing. The police alone can't do it. The public health inspectors need to come on board and get out there. Instead, we see public health inspectors engaged in activities that simply, for one for a better word, unnecessary at this point in time, whilst we have an ongoing pandemic. All right? So very good, Jahil, public health inspectors. Another function is to link the people needed, the, link the people needed to get their health services done, to assure that the healthcare is provided in areas where it might be difficult. You need to also assure there is a competent public healthcare workforce. You need to have evaluation of the effectiveness of your health-based services. And very importantly, and this is a very important word when it comes to public health, and that word is access. And access to public health and access to healthcare services is a hallmark, is an important term, an important concept of assuring public health and assuring that health service delivery occurs. Now, I want to ask some of you, should I keep this for exam question? But I'm going to ask it now. Name one change that occurred and this change occurred voluntarily that improved health status. Name one change that deals with access. The change has to deal with access. And remember what I said earlier in the lecture, that public health is medical-based services that meshes with, that marries with social conditions, living conditions, sanitation, all of those things, community efforts. Tell me, guys, you guys are intelligent group of students. Name one change that happened recently throughout the world, and you can look at it even right here in Trinidad and Tobago, that happened that has now improved the health status of citizens. Let me get some answers before I give hints. This is a nice question. Who knows, it might come back for an exam. Discuss this one change that occurred voluntarily based on advice from the WHO and advice from your healthcare professionals. One change that occurred in communities and in countries that improved our health, our general health status. Come on, guys. Chelsea, Jahil, Samantha, Vikash, Katrina, K. Is any of the Kavitas in this class as well? Shakila. Think about it. Whenever you have to go anywhere, you see something all over, and it definitely has led to improving our health status. Come on, guys, you all know this. You all could figure this one out. And it has to do with access. It has to do with so many people having easy access to it that has led us to have a better health status. I can't believe nobody's giving me answers. Nobody at all. You all really need hints? All right. We'll take a break. And when we come back, I'll take your answers. Right? We'll take the break, and when we come back, I'll take your answers. All right? So we're going to go for the break, and we're going to return at 11:15 with your answers. All right? So I'll see you on the other side of 11 o'clock.